Well, here it is, the Fender Tone Master Pro, and I'm going to show you everything that nobody else did. Well, here it is. This is how the box is inside the brown box, if you will. Oh, I've got my little evil owl there. Yeah, there he is. A new one. But I suppose I'll leave him down there because, well, frankly, you're more interested in this, aren't you? This is what you're here for. So let's go and unbox this thing. It's a very nice box, but you are paying for it. So let's get that lid off, right? First impressions, it's bigger than you think. So there's the main unit. And here's what's actually in the box. You get a piece of paper. You get a big heavy wire pack. You get this bit that slides out. And right down at the bottom, you get a couple of pieces of paper. Well, first impressions. It's a bit of a chunky beast, but we'll come back to all that later. First thing I want to do is take a look inside this darn thing. It's made in China, so I really want to know what I'm buying. Don't you? Well, you aren't going to find this anywhere else, so let's get this darn thing apart and take a look what it's really made of. After all, for £1,650, I'd expect it to be better than good. Okay, well, here's a quick shot of the inside of the unit. We're going to go a little bit closer and then take a little look at the chips a little bit later. I'm not going to spend all day on them, but it is worth having a look at this one because it is designed pretty much similar but different, if you will. Yeah, so that's the overall outside view. Well, we'll go a bit closer and have a look at that. But just before I do, notice that this top piece, or the bottom piece in your case, is actually a cast material. And you'll also note that you've got this brass rail running across out of the processor's heatsink. And on the end of each side of that, if you can see it from here, a little bit closer, there is material to get rid of the excessive heat off that copper strip. Yeah, very interesting. Let's go closer. So here's that very quick overview, what I was talking about. A little bit closer. We can see that the device comprises of a top board. Remember, the top's that way. And the top board basically has got lots of controls at the other side. It's got the screen at the other side and things like that. Further along, we've got a section for the power supply down here. You can see all down this side. Yeah, we've got the processing board here, or the main processing board. More of that in a moment. We've got where the power comes in at the back up there, and we've got this back board. Which is a separate board. Actually, it comprises of 1, 2, 3 boards in a sort of C shape. Now, I can't pull all that apart. I'm not going to even try just looking at it. It looks more work than it's worth, if you want the truth. But there are a few things across the back, which we're going to take a look at in a second. We've also got that looks to me like a wireless type of device. Yeah, it probably is wireless. Yeah, what more can I say? Well, of course, the first thing to draw your attention to is what you're going to be drawing your own attention to later. And it's right there. It's a CR2032 3-volt lithium battery made in China. Sooner or later, you're probably going to have to change that. And you take the back cover off, and there she is, staring you in the face, with a big fat Fender logo above it. And here's the main processing board. As you can see, it's a bit of a one. It's got these copper shafts that go off to each side, and then the bottom of the unit acts as a giant heatsink. Yeah, that's what it is. Underneath this, you've got the main processor, I'll call it that. We've got a whole pile of chips kicking around, including this. That's an ARM chip. Not sure what that one is. There's a XMOS there. Yeah, lots of little chips kicking around, and these ancillary ones that you'll see from time to time. But anyway, that's the main board. We're going to take the lid off and have a look at what's actually inside that. Yeah, just to be clear. Now then, there's a little problem here. This processor heatsink doesn't come off, or let's put it this way round, it doesn't come off easily. And I'm at the point where I'm not actually going to take that any further than what you're looking at now. I've had the board out, as you can see, but that heat shield is, well, really and truly stuck on there. I don't really want to damage the unit trying to get the heatsink off, you know what I mean? So I'm afraid I'll do some research on that. I'll try and find out exactly what the processor is, and maybe the other few bits that could be under there, but I see lots on this backboard, just up there, which we're going to have a look at next. And that's about it, I'm afraid. So you're not going to see the processor itself. You've seen the processor board. It's well enough made. In fact, the whole unit's well enough made. But what I want to do is then move on and concentrate a little bit more on that backboard across there. Okay, well, this is the backboard that runs across where the output is, all over there, the I/O. And as you can see, it is extremely populated. There is a load of stuff on that. It's difficult to see exactly what as well, and I'm trying to get closer, and if I can get any of the chips that I can find any information about, I'll be throwing them on the screen. Yeah. So lots of these little tiny chips, all doing something, of course, loads of capacitors and so on and so forth. And yeah, if I find anything interesting, I'll be talking about the chips. And this is the other part of the board. I noticed that there's an ARM chip there. Some more chips down there, some across there. It's riddled with them. God help if it fails. Fender might have them for a price. Yeah, like everything else, I guess. But it's well enough made. Made on a machine. Made in China. This backboard here, this one above the sort of chip processing thing, is for all the connectors for the output side. And if you look carefully, you can even see there they're actually named as what they are. Don't know how far you can see, but there they are. This one here is the amp control, for example. And probably the board below it, which you can just about see there, is another I/O board for the sockets and I/O on the second layer outside the back. You'll more of them later. Yeah, so quite interesting. I'm going to move on that way a little bit more and just show you a couple of bits. Okay, well this board here runs from the front of the unit to the back of the unit. There's a little bit just up there off camera that you can't really see, but you're not missing much. It's really, in my opinion, that's a power supply board. So it's all integral. If you get any problems with that, well, you'll know where to come. And it's got some electrolytic capacitors there that after a period of time will fail and will need changing, as will that one down there. Yeah, you can see them. So it's a sort of secondary subsidiary board for power. Okay, well, I haven't actually turned it on yet. Yeah, it might work after I've had the back off, but I'm pretty sure it will actually. So let's turn it on and see what it's like. This is what you get, if anything. Oh, looks like I did put it back right. That's stupid. Here we go. Tone Master Pro, it proudly proclaims. Yeah, here we go, down the road. It's a bit slow, isn't it? Well, we'll find out about that processor later, won't we? Yeah, still whirring around, doing its thing. Yeah, all exciting. The little light is on, as you can see. Oh, fancy that. It's a bit slow firing up, wasn't it? But there you go. Okay, so what we've got is all this stuff, firmware update available, go to this, do that. So I guess that's what I'm going to do first, so I'm just going to turn this off for now. Okay, well, this is a quick look of it with it fired up when you've got the latest software on and it's been reset and all the rest of it. And by the way, on the latest software, you do have to press a little button that you might look around for a while. But it is there eventually, and you'll eventually get yours set up. And if you don't update the firmware and try and run the other software, it doesn't work. First of all, what we're going to do is not look at the top here. We're going to go and have a look at the I/O at the back, which I think is quite important. Yeah, well, it's very important. And, you know, scarily, when you look at products like this, they all seem to have pretty much the same things. Okay, well, here we are around the back. And, you know, one of the things about this device is, in my opinion, it's been rushed to market somewhat. Now, I'll explain that a bit later. Because it is a bit frustrating, if you want the truth, a company like Fender. But we'll come back to it later. Mark my words, I won't be forgetting it anytime soon. Let's run across this from this side to this side. And I think what I'll do is I'll zoom in and we can have a quick look at, a closer look indeed, at what's actually on the back. Okay, well, I don't have all of the technical details yet, but make no mistake, I'll find them. And I'll be back. So let's just have a look at this. What we've got here is, this looks rather familiar to me, some of this, very familiar. In fact, the HeadRush that I recently reviewed, the HeadRush Core, in fact it got a mic line. Well, they say for vocal on theirs, but it's basically the same type of thing. It's one of those dual types of connectors where you can use, you know, either of the two common connections, the XLRs or the 1/4 inch or 6.3 jack. There it is. And of course, if you're going to use an instrument like a guitar, in it goes there in this also 1/4 inch or 6.3. If you look at this section here, there's a whole section dedicated to loops. Now, I don't know how many loops you want, but 4 loops to me, I'll stress, is too many. I've got a number of loops on the Helix, and to be honest, do I use them? No, I don't use them all by a long way. But you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. This says stereo. And is that stereo? Well, I'd read the manual, but Fender couldn't be asked to bother get the manual online. Well, next along here is pretty obvious as well. We've got 2 XLRs, a left and a right. And we've got 2 1/4 inch or 6.3 left and rights, and a ground lift button in the middle. It's basically, well, I hate to say it, but it's another HeadRush Core nicety than the HeadRush Cores, rather cheaper. Yeah, so there it is. Very, very similar. What else can I say about that? Not a lot. There's an aux in on this. You can see it there. Again, it's on a... I hate to say this, it's on the HeadRush Core 2. Yeah. Ah, yeah, we've got an output 2 also, which is useful, or could be useful. Depends how it routes inside, but my guess is there'll be lots of routing that you can do on this device from the software. We've got a phones. We've got expression pedal 1 and expression pedal 2. We've got a toe switch, which is useful, assuming your expression pedal's got it or not. We've got an amp control there, which again is a 1/4 or 6.3 mil. Yeah. Ah, interesting. We've got a micro SD on this one and a USB. Now the micro SD might be interesting. You could maybe do a lot of stuff with that. We'll come back and look at that later. Of course we will. And interestingly and good, we've got standard MIDI in and out with a through. And down the end, yeah, just down there, we've got an internal power supply, which is always good. And a bit more about that again later. You've got this silly little, this what do they call them these days? I forget. It's been a long time since I saw one. But there it is on the back, and it looks entirely out of place. A little LED would have been nice. Okay, well, here we are back round the front, and just before I go down there, I really want to just have a bit of a gripe, really. Yeah, I think it deserves it. You've got a company like Fender here that's been around, well, for a very, very long time. And you've got a product here that's made in China. Oh, there's nothing wrong with being made in China. Well, there might not be. But one of the problems, I'll tell you what one of the problems are. You've got a device here, okay, might be simple to use. It might not be simple to use. The only problem is you're not really going to be able to find out very easily, just like every one of those reviews that I watched from the people where they were sent these things for up to a month early, I might add. And you know what? There isn't even, past launch date, there isn't even a manual available. There's this flimsy one sheet here that tells you absolutely, to be honest, nothing. It tells you nothing, very little or nothing. And I'm reading this from the Fender website right now. You listen to me, this is a load of rubbish, this is, the way that this is being put out. Listen, you should be having everything ready for your clients when you launch the product. This is what they say. Tone Master Pro is the first no-compromise multi-effects guitar workstation that features the amazing sound quality that the Tone Master series is known for. It is compromised, you haven't even got a manual. How bad's that? You've even, on the first firmware, put other products in there. There are new presets. There's song set list modes, there's loopers, there's more mid this, there's more that, more the other. It's all there, accordingly, to the Fender website and the firmware update. And guess what? You haven't even got a user manual that can be downloaded. There isn't one anywhere. And the date here is the 8th of October 2023, after the launch date. And this has been floating around the market, according to some of those I'll call them reviewers, for a month or more they've had it. Well, what's going on? No manual? Oh, what a joke. It's all a bit weird, really, isn't it? I like Fender guitars. I really like Fender guitars. I like a lot of the Fender amps. I like a lot of the stuff they do. And there they go, launching this product. And it's not even ready. The firmware it came with didn't work with everything else. You mess around, then, oh, just press the button on the back for your firmware. You won't find the button. Well, it is there, yeah. I think it's about an 1/8 of an inch across and well hidden. Yeah, it's fun, that is. Yeah, but you'll find the same if you buy one. You know, you'll have great fun working on that. And as for the rest of it with no manual, well, if they think this crabby little sheet here is going to suffice, they're all doing it, aren't they? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And £1,650, remember that. The HeadRush Core that's down on the floor is a very similar device for £750, maybe not quite as powerful as that processor that I can't find any information about anywhere on the internet, including on Fender or any of the sellers. Nobody's talking about it. It's an 8-core processor, they say, but they don't say anything else. And, you know, when people do things like that, I tend not to want to quite believe what they say. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my gripe over, and it is a big gripe. I'll be back when I get the manual, don't you worry. But let's go and have a quick look around the front now and see what's there. Okay, well, here we are around the front. My gripe's nearly out the way for now. No doubt it'll creep back in as we go. So here's a quick look at the front of the device, or the top of the device for a lot of people. It's laid out very nice, and I want to start with, really, from here, the screen. Because when I look at this screen, this Fender claim is a nice 7-inch screen, and I can tell you now it is a 7-inch screen. But there is only one problem with it. Well, the device that costs half the price of this one, instead of this being 3¼ inches deep for its 7-inch screen, which this one is, the HeadRush Core is 3¾ inches deep, which takes it to about there. So this extra real estate is important, and it's more important when you're working from a screen, not necessarily from the software. As Fender themselves say, they say, well, you know, you can use this just anywhere you like, you can get at everything and all the rest of it, and I'm sure you can. But that is a point, that this screen is smaller than a £750 device. So let's just have the cursory run around it. We've got this section here that she's choosing presets. You can see up at the top, all nice and easy. We're whipping through them. They do seem, actually, to me, it's just a personal view, they do seem a bit small to me, these do. Yeah, especially when really you've only got one path, for example, on that one there, Maximus Twins. You've got the in and the out, but all these seem a bit small. There's no scrolling through them. Okay, if you go up here into this list view, you've got, well, obviously you've got your lists. And there they are down here. We can just choose what we fancy, click it, and away you go. It's very simple. And if I want to look at some features on this and change a few, well, there they are down at the bottom. We can assign foot switches, expressions. You've got preset settings, which we can look at. Not that much to go at. Input, impedance, output. Oh, let's choose that. That should be interesting. Here we are. All the various input impedances, which I can tell you that on the front switch of a Helix rack, that's the only place you can get the particular, I think it's a 1 meg in. Yeah, but I've talked about that before on other stuff. Let's go back. Well, how many is there? I check in the manual, but you know how it goes. That'll come out in 2024 probably. It says it is. So let's assume there's 134. And I do notice that the highest one I can go to is 504, which is empty. By the way, you can sort of click these things in this section and run down all the various options, if there are any. Set lists, there they are. I'm going to go back. By the way, the firmware I've got now is version latest as of today, which is the 8th of October 2023, and I think it's version 1.1. And it's supposed to be faster, doing a lot of stuff. It doesn't seem faster on the screen. Screen seems very slightly laggy. Now we've also got some global presets under the gear. Not that many of them there, but there you go. Retain global EQ. Some of these weren't there in version 1 of the firmware, by the way. I'll look at about, it'll tell me 1.1.1. So there you have that. We can do a factory reset. Display brightness is on auto, if I remember right. Or maybe not. No. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Oh, I didn't do that. Yeah, a little bit funny on that screen. That was a good example. Now, as well as these things you've got here, you've got these across the bottom here, so we can look at the I/O, the inputs, the outputs, expression control. Oops. See what I mean? USB, MIDI. That's all that's down there, I'm afraid. Yeah, we can go to foot switches. 6 presets, 80. Got a Bluetooth I haven't set up yet. No doubt I will. Got an EQ, hopefully. Yeah, global EQ. We've got a mixer as well, so we can mix different things to different outputs. Or inputs, I guess. And there's a tuner. So let's have a look at one of the graphics. Let's see if I can get at that one. There it is. Well, it looks pretty much like all the others. I guess, yeah, you can turn the knobs on this one. Whereas when I was looking at the HeadRush thing, the core, well, you could turn the various things, but the knobs didn't actually move. Yeah, that's one difference. As if it makes any real difference to the tone. Of course it doesn't, but it's just the niceties of things, isn't it? And especially at the price. I keep on about the price, £1,650. I'd expect the knobs to turn themselves. Moving along a little bit, we've got this other knob here. Yeah, Master 75, push for mixer. Well, if we push it, what you can see is you've got these various, I'll call them outputs. Master, output 1, output 2, USB 3, blah, blah, blah. We can set what they are, and we can set, hopefully, yeah, we can set the augs to them or not, and things like that. Now on this device, you've got things where you can do auto routing, or routing, some people say. So if we click there, you can see here, once again, it's very similar to the HeadRush Core, believe it or not, very similar. There might be more options in this one, or not, I can't tell you quite yet. I haven't got a manual to refer to. So there's an instrument series, instrument parallel. We can set it up like this, or, well, you can see them yourself. How many is there? Oh, there's quite a lot, you see. So that's better than the likes of the HeadRush. I can look at one like that. I mean, that's pretty involved by anybody's state of play. Anyway, I'm going to go back. That's what that's for. And on the output side, you've got a sort of similar thing where you can route various things to different places. Yeah, there they are. If I go back to that one and I look down here at the switches, a lot of people have probably showed you this already because it's probably all they've got to show. But here we are. If I look at this one, it says level 65. I can adjust it, and you can see up at the top here that it actually adjusts the level. So these are like the knobs that were on the original pedal. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we go 1, 2, 3 and 4, not 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a pity, I suppose. They might be able to be flirted around or not. I can't tell. There is no manual. It's crazy. So we can adjust these things. In either case, yeah, there they are. You've seen me do it. Now, I don't know whether I mentioned it before. It has actually got a looper. It's here, hold for looper. So if we hold that down, the theory is it's in looper mode. Well, it says it is. But that's all you can really see. I was expecting something up here, silly me. Yeah, well, okay. I'm not going to change anything on it, but rumour has it, the rumour might be wrong, because there's no manual and no tech specs, that there's just 1 minute of loop. A 60-second loop isn't so dynamic, I wouldn't think. Well, some people might think so. I don't use loopers personally, but to me, well, if it is 60 seconds and not 60 minutes, that's another story. Yeah, I'm not impressed with that. And of course, while we're just on these buttons, we've already showed that you can twiddle them to change the, well, whatever parameter it is. But they also, as you can see here, whichever one you're choosing lights up, as it would. Got another thing here, which is foot switch mode. At the moment, you're hopping between these presets, but if you do that, what you've now got is you've got all of these devices, if there is any, yeah, turned off, turned on, which is like it's just, well, everybody's doing it. There's nothing special. It's all the same. In reality, I do like the way that you can adjust these things. For example, on that. I do like that. I do like how that's adjustable with these. I haven't particularly seen that one before. And don't be surprised if you start going to these and going like that. It does get you that way, but they don't work because they're not touch. What I do find with this particular interface is it's not always as graphical as you might have thought it was. And I hate to keep referring back to the other previous reviews I've done, but that other one with its 7-inch screen has a more graphical interface than what this one does. So in reality, the other one's easier to use, manual or no manual. So if I was to look at preset settings, all I've got is this funny little list here, and yeah, it's all a bit, well, to be honest, it's a bit basic. Of course, everybody will tell me, oh yeah, well, it's early firmware and it's early this and early that. Well, my answer to that is very simple. If you don't have a product that's actually ready to be brought to market, then don't bring it to market. I mean, I expected, to be honest, a product in front of me for £1,650 that was nigh on perfect without having to upgrade X, Y and Z, just to add a few more little bits and pieces, and at least with a reasonable, even if it's an early manual or an intro manual or a this or a that, rather than a single piece of paper that's got nothing on it. Well, that's a sort of very quick overview of the top of the unit, and I'm not going to spend all day on that because I seem to think, well, frankly, I will be coming back and redoing all this. Yeah, and when I do find that darn processor, I'll be back about that too. It claims to be an 8-core processor. It may be an 8-core processor, but listen, I've been down all the our processor's the best in the world, and oh no, sorry, that was Fractal Audio, wasn't it? Oh yeah, remember them? Oh, they're still around, yeah. Well, they've no longer got the most powerful processor, have they? Well, according to Fender. Maybe Fender and Fractal ought to get together and have a bit of a discussion or argument about that. I'd love it. I'd love it. That'd be so funny. But then again, Fractal Audio's got a manual, and Fender hasn't. Maybe they'll come out with one before Christmas. Yeah, that'd be a bit of a bad one, wouldn't it? You get this for Christmas and you've got no manual. Oh, you're new to it? Well, guess what? You might be able to figure it out. I mean, I'd like to be able to use the micro SD, but I'm still looking. I haven't found an answer to that. Oh my God. And, it's like everything else. Yeah, brand new product, bit of a problem. And, I like to see, I've written a few things down here. I like to see with the firmware, there were new presets, there were new template routings. We've seen some of them quickly, we did. We've got a set list mode, which we've seen, which was one line, but it's sort of getting there. It all comes across to me like this product isn't set for release. It's still not ready for release. It's rushed. That's the word I'd use. Yeah, it's got more foot switch layouts, it says. There's an auto bright screen, which I did turn on in the end, if you noticed that. It claims to have an improved speed for the UI or the user interface on this screen, but to be honest, I thought it lagged a bit. I really did, compared to that other thing I was looking at just last week. Yeah, you ought to go and have a look at that because it's half the price. I'm not entirely convinced that it's double the value. In fact, I know it isn't up to now. Yeah, you've got global EQs, things like that. It's got MIDI support, more MIDI support than what it had at launch. Well, I say launch, a week ago. It's got a looper, if you call 60 seconds good. I don't. And I don't, not even a looper user, but yeah. It's got some new amps as well, a 59 Bassman that I'd have thought had been in there from day one, wouldn't you? One of the best amps they make. Some people tell me different, I don't know. There's no diesel Hagen in there. In fact, there isn't any diesels in there from what I can gather. I think, what else isn't in there? Let's have a think. I don't know what's going on with any of that. Maybe they'll all be added later. But once again, what you're ending up with is a device that wasn't ready for launch, in my opinion. It's just an opinion. I'm a customer, paying customer. Cost me £1,650. I'll be lucky to get my money back at this rate, won't I? So I doubt I'll be keeping this one. I've got a better one down there for about £750, I think. I don't know. The touchscreen, I'm still not convinced, honestly. And I noticed something else. As soon as this actually hit the market, them other boys, the Neural DSP Quad Cortex they called, aren't they? Neural DSP Quad Cortex. I always forget that name. I've had to write it down. They immediately dropped the price because they said, oh, the processors come down in price. Well, in the market that's out there today, I think you'll find that the processors aren't coming down in price. In fact, if they go anywhere, they're in dire shortage and they're going up in price, not down in price. That's just a personal view, of course. I could be wrong. Do you know, I set out to want to really like this product, and I'm still at a point where I can't. I could sit and play it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give up on this one for now. I'm not going to review any more of it, not the audio, not the this, not the that, until I've got the necessary information at hand so I can do a proper review. You know what? These sales videos that you go and watch, honestly, they haven't told you anything about any of this stuff. And how do I know? Because I went and had a look. And I hate to see products that are misrepresented in some way. No, not good enough. Fender, you're a multi-million pound company. What the hell are you playing at? Or have you farmed it out to some Chinese company that's doing it for you? I don't know. Fender will never tell you. Okay, well, I'm not going to say any more on this one for now. I will be back with a thorough review with the other half of everything that I've filmed, and I probably won't go into any depths today on the chips and the rest of it. Let's leave that for now, and they will be included in the next proper video of this one, should they eventually actually do what they should do and release the specifications and create a proper manual. It would help. And if you're only going to update the contents of this every 6 months, so I read from one of your boys, well, I'm afraid that isn't good enough. You won't be competing with Line 6 every 6 months. You won't be competing with even Fractal Audio every other day. You won't be competing with HeadRush. You won't be competing with New X. You won't be competing with any company if you're only going to launch some bits of new data every 6 months. It's grim, that is. Anyway, tell me what you think down below. And if you think all that stuff I've shown, the limited information I can show you, is all great, say so. And if you think it isn't all great, well, also say so, because personally, I wish I'd never seen it at this moment in time. It might improve. We'll see. Okay, lastly, come on. One of you, I need a few subscribers. Yeah, not doing all this for nothing. I want some more subscribers. And by the way, I did buy it, just in case I didn't mention that. And yeah, do that thumbs up, tick all. You won't get much communication from me, other than if you put something on a post. I usually reply to them, because that's only reasonable, isn't it? That's it for now on this one. I wish it'd been better. It will be better. And if it isn't better, well, you'll find it on eBay. Don't forget to visit TonyMcKenzie.com, www.TonyMcKenzie.com, where there's lots of reviews that aren't on YouTube. And oh my God, this one, I'll be back.